Dear souls, it has been quite a while since we last spoke with you. We would like to wish lots of love to our 13th dimensional sisters, the Arcturian crystal blue angels, and our 14th dimensional sisters, the amethyst angels. We want to talk to you today about color schemes controlling light frequencies. We have talked to you in the past about how we have helped planets both ascending and new planets as well, even traveling biodomes that are like planets, if you can believe it. We have talked about how we have helped them with their color schemes, sort of like the interior decorators planning what their skyline may look like, their vegetation, their lakes, their rivers, their flowers, their trees. This is done by controlling light codes, controlling light frequencies, projecting various forms of light. We also determine this by their proximity to a sun, or the moon, or stars, depending on what level of a civilization they are. Some of you dear ones on your planet are already starting to learn how to control light codes, how to alter them. Doing this through deep meditation, relaxation, focusing in on those colors, one by one, imagining them swirl around you. Focusing on visualizing those colors? We would recommend that you do this with all colors of the rainbow, and get proficient at it. Try multiple ones at a time, and then try doing it visually with light codes that you may see from your spirit guides. The light you witness, dear ones, comes from an electromagnetic spectrum, your frequency of light, which is the number of waves passing a point in space per second, dear ones. This determines the color that you will perceive, with different frequencies, of course, corresponding to different colors. For example, the red light is on the lower end of your frequency bandwidth. Also known as the electromagnetic spectrum, your violet light is on the top end of that same spectrum, and frequency that you can witness in that spectrum is visible light. This range corresponds to the colors you see from red all the way on up to violet. Red is the lower frequency-based color, and of course we had mentioned violet is your highest frequency bandwidth color. You cannot perceive a full purple at this time. Dear souls, is just out of your bandwidth, your ascension level. As it keeps bumping up, shift after shift after shift, eventually, purple will be within that bandwidth for you. Dear souls, just like after that, you will be able to hear the sounds of these colors. Souls on your earth may already be attempting this, dear ones. How to master hearing different colors? Eventually this will come into everybody's wavelength on your planet, your souls, as it continues up the ascension ladder, rung by rung. Your frequency and your wavelength are inversely related. Higher frequency means a shorter wavelength and vice versa. This means that your color red with a lower frequency is a longer wavelength, and violet up at the top of the spectrum has the shortest wavelength, with the frequency determining what color you are perceiving. When these light frequencies reach your eyes, you see a combination of colors, which you perceive as a single color. Different color frequencies mean different things to different people. For instance, blue can give off a feeling of tranquility and loyalty. Also, it can mean trust, but it can invoke emotions of coldness too. Red is very passionate, but it can also give off implications of anger or danger. With your color, green, I think you all know money. It does give off that aura, though. It gives up that aura of money and nature in your reality, such as plants and other vegetation. It can also give off an aura of guilt and jealousy. Purple, for example, which is not in your visual path on the bandwidth, can mean royalty, nobility, fun-loving, a good time to be around, whereas black can represent harmony. It can also be perceived in your reality, dear souls, unfortunately, as anger, death, or fear. We do not subscribe to that theory, dear ones. We, at the translucent color realms, agree that black is beautiful, white, or white, living, loving light. White is pure, clean intentions, and fresh in its brightest form of the pure white light of all that is, dear souls. When you talk about how these lights are measured within that spectrum, they are measured in your reality by terahertz and nanometers. Where to tune in at? Generally, you're talking about a communication device. We would like to explain to you where you can find these various colors on a frequency wavelength, or what frequency we should say, dear souls, that they operate at. Your color violet? It ranges from 668 to 789 terahertz. AH is the frequency the wavelength is registered in nanometers, which for violet is 380 to 450 nanometers on the wavelength part of the spectrum. Conversely, red operates on the frequency scale at 400 to 484 terahertz to go along with the 620 to 750 nanometers on the wavelength scale. The higher and more potent the frequency, the smaller wavelength that it has, as it is compact into a tighter range. When the frequency is low, it has the ability to spread out further in a wavelength, because it is spread out further. In that wavelength, it carries a less potent frequency. Dear Soul's colors are so much more than a visual. They're more like a sound. They're a feeling. They're a state of awareness, consciousness, and an all-around perception of life on any kind of a scale. Anywhere on any dimension, on any planet, words like frequency, wavelength, vibration have always been a part of your culture. They will become more and more prevalent as you move up that ladder step by step through each dimension that you travel through. We are the Arcturian translucent realm colors, and with that from the 12th dimension, we will say goodbye at this time.